So you're starting a nonprofit. That's amazing. You're probably laser focused on your mission, right? But today, we're going to talk about something that's maybe not as glamorous, but is absolutely essential. The policies you need from day one. Let's get right into it.
I know. That sounds crazy, right? Your mission is everything. But what if I told you that without a really strong internal framework, even the most passionate mission can just fall apart? That's the big question we're digging into, because what happens behind the scenes is every bit as important as the work you do out in the world.
Okay, so before we jump into a list of must-have documents, we've got to talk about the why. Why is this so urgent? Why can't you just figure this out later? Well, the reasons are actually pretty compelling, and they start right at the beginning of your journey.
Yep, right out of the gate, the IRS is paying attention. When you fill out that all-important Form 1023 to get your 501c3 tax-exempt status, it's not a pop quiz. They literally ask you if you've adopted certain policies, especially a conflict of interest policy. Ticking no on that box is a huge red flag that can slow down your application or even get it denied.
And then there's the money. Funders and grant makers, they are smart. They don't just throw money at a good idea. They invest in an organization that's built to last. When they see you have clear policies, it tells them you're serious, you're professional, and you're going to be a good steward of their funds. Honestly, it can be the one thing that puts you ahead of the competition. Policies are your secret weapon for preventing future headaches. Seriously, think of them like a prenup for your organization. They set the rules of the road before a problem ever pops up. So when a tricky situation does arise, and it will, you're not scrambling. You're just following the playbook you already wrote. It's all about preventing fires, not just putting them out.
So here's the best way to think about it. Your mission, your passion, that's the beautiful house you're trying to build. But these policies, they're the concrete foundation. You can't really see it once the house is up, but without it, the whole thing is at risk of cracking and collapsing. This is the bedrock of your organization.
Okay, so now that we're all on the same page about why this is so critical, let's get into the what. We're going to walk through the 5 absolute must-have policies. Think of this as your essential nonprofit starter pack. These are the ones you really want to have in place from the jump.
All right, here they are, the core 5. We've got conflict of interest, whistleblower, document retention, financial management, and gift acceptance. Together, these cover everything from integrity and accountability to just plain old smart operations. Let's break them down one by one.
First up, and you could argue this is the most important one, is the conflict of interest policy. The idea is super simple. It makes sure that every decision made by the board is for the good of the mission, not to line someone's pockets. It means board members have to disclose any potential conflicts every year, and, this is key, recuse themselves, meaning they step out of the room for any vote where they might have a personal stake. It's all about transparency.
Next, the whistleblower policy. This one is like your organization's immune system. It creates a safe way for anyone, staff, volunteers, you name it, to raise their hand and say, hey, I think something's wrong here, without any fear of getting fired or punished. It sends a powerful message that you are serious about doing things the right way.
I know this one sounds kind of dry, but stick with me, because it's important. Your document retention policy is basically your organization's brain. It's a simple set of rules for what paperwork to keep, how long to keep it, and when it's okay to get rid of it. This prevents you from accidentally losing something vital, and it also protects you from ever being accused of shredding documents you shouldn't have. It's just good, clean legal housekeeping.
This policy is all about protecting the cash. It sets up basic, common-sense internal controls. Things like who can approve an expense over $500, or how many signatures do you need on a check for $10,000. These are the simple guardrails that prevent mistakes and protect against fraud, giving your donors total confidence that their money is safe. And finally, we have the gift acceptance policy. Now, it might sound nuts to think about turning down a donation, but this policy is like a bodyguard for your mission. It helps you say no thank you to gifts that could actually cause more harm than good. Like a piece of land that comes with a massive tax bill or a donation that's restricted for a program you don't even run. This policy makes sure every single gift helps you move forward.
So, we have our core 5, but a policy is totally useless if it just sits in a binder on a shelf, right? The real trick is turning that paperwork into something you actually use. So let's talk about how to make these policies a real, living part of your organization. Okay, a huge mistake people make is going online and downloading some massive 30-page policy manual that was written for a giant hospital system. Don't do that. The smart move is to keep it simple. A clear, one-page policy that everyone actually reads and understands is 1,000 times better than some complicated novel that nobody ever opens.
And listen, this part is absolutely crucial. Having a policy and then ignoring it is actually worse than having no policy at all. Why? Because it proves you know what the right thing to do is and you're just not doing it. To a funder or a regulator, that looks really bad. The gold standard is having policies that truly, honestly reflect how you work every single day. This is the million-dollar question, isn't it? We've got these awesome, simple policies. So whose job is it to make sure people are actually following them? It can be a little confusing, but the answer is actually pretty straightforward when you break it down.
At the end of the day, the board of directors is ultimately responsible, but they usually delegate the day-to-day stuff. The board typically owns the big-picture governance policies, like conflict of interest. Meanwhile, the executive director or leadership team handles the operational rules, like who signs the checks. The key is just to be crystal clear about who owns what, so nothing gets missed.
All right, let's bring this all home. We've talked about the why, the what, and the how. All of this work, all this planning and paperwork, it's all for one reason: to build an organization that can make a real, lasting impact in the world. This quote really says it all. The magic isn't in just having the policy. It's when your board and your team actually get it, talk about it, and use it. That's when these documents stop being boring paperwork and start being powerful tools that protect your mission and guide your success.
So as you go out and build your amazing nonprofit, I want to leave you with this one question. Look past all the excitement and passion for a second and ask yourself, is my foundation strong enough to hold up the incredible thing I'm trying to build? Because with the right policies in place from day one, you're not just starting another organization, you're building an institution that's designed to last.